It's locked, all right. It's locked. More Braille. I should bring this to Mason Swanborough. Mother, good evening.
Jonathan! Is it you? Where have you been, my prodigal son?
I'm right here, Mother. I'm finally home.
Yes, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now found. But where is your sister? Where is Mary?
Mary? She is gone, Mother.
I know she's gone. The question is, when will she return as you have? I miss my grandson so much. It's been days since their last visit.
Mother, do you know what's been going on in this area?
Not really. I don't go out much due to the epidemic, and when I do, I tend to get lost.
What do you mean you get lost? I hope you don't go outside alone.
Of course not. When I go out, your father always comes with me, but he leaves me there sometimes, and I have trouble finding the way back.
Have you returned to Whitechapel Cemetery since Mary's funeral?
I never want to go back to that awful place. Wait. I think I went back once. And you were there too. And Mary? No, that can't be true.
It was just a bad dream, Mother.
A nightmare, yes. Mary was so angry. I walked back home alone. If that kind policeman had not called Avery from the station, I don't know what would have happened.
Do you need anything, Mother? Can I help you?
I just want you to stay with me, Jonathan. Your room is ready. I asked Avery to make your bed.
I'll stay as long as I can, I promise. Do you need anything else?
Just one thing. Stop staring at me like that. As much as I love you, it breaks my heart to look at those empty and dead eyes.
Are you working on a new painting?
Not recently. I have trouble focusing on my subject and my mind quickly drifts. It's the same thing when I try to write poetry.
I recently met a talented painter with an excellent technique. I wish you two could meet. I'm sure you'd like her.
I'd be glad to meet her. What is her name? Is she famous? Is she dead too?
She's not famous, and her name is of no importance. And yes, she is also dead.
The important thing is, I hope you two get along. If she ever fancies meeting your mother, I'd be glad to welcome her into my home.
Why do you say Mary is visiting you, Mother? You know that's impossible.
Why should it be? Are you not standing in front of me right now? Why should it be any different with your sister?
But I'm not dead, Mother. I'm really here, talking to you, trying not to cry.
Oh, it breaks my heart to have to tell you this. But of course you're dead, my darling boy. Just look at you, as pale as my Mary.
But Mary really is dead, Mother.
Yes. And are you not dead too? Isn't your father dead? And my grandson, and my son-in-law, you're all gone. But you all still visit me from time to time.
Goodbye, Mother. Try to rest now.
Goodbye, son. Please come back soon. Your father and I have spoken about your fiancée, Mary, We believe he'll be an honorable husband for you. We'll set a date for the marriage then. That way, I'm sure one of my children will give me grandchildren. I understand your thirst for knowledge, Jonathan, and your father and I are proud of it. But you are not that young anymore, my son. When will I meet your soulmate? You can ascribe my romantic tendencies to my French origins if you want, Aubrey. But I'll never cease to believe in a match made in heaven, my beloved.
I really wish you could meet her, Mother. You would love her. It's locked, all right. Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan, I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, it's a miracle. We all thought you were... Oh, sir, your poor sister. What a tragedy.
I know, Avery. I know about my sister's murder.
Miss Reid expected you to return to assist with the funeral, right up until the last minute. Where have you been, Mr. Jonathan? We needed you here.
How is my mother?
Not well, I'm afraid, sir. Miss Reid is very fragile since the police brought her back home.
The police? What happened?
Miss Reid was found walking in the streets. She kept saying she had spoken with her son and daughter. She's resting now.
Has she received appropriate medical care?
I'm taking care of Miss Reid myself. Hospitals are so overwhelmed by the epidemic that they can only accept patients infected by influenza.
Perhaps we could arrange a short trip. Somewhere sunny, like France. She has always been very fond of France. I think leaving London could do her good.
I'm afraid Miss Reid is too frail for the moment. Recently, she started going out at night without remembering it. I have to watch her carefully.
What is the situation in this part of town?
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family.
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and I've never met my nephews. I'll stay, sir.
I'm sorry I could not be here for Mary's funeral.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I, no one else attended your sister's funeral.
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I'm sorry, I simply could not attend.
I would not dare to question your absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed you a great deal during these difficult days.
Do you know my mother speaks to the dead members of this family?
Yes. I sometimes hear her speaking to you, Miss Mary, and her baby. Sometimes your father, too.
So she thinks I'm also dead. And what about you?
I believe she only sees her relatives as the dead she speaks to, Mr. Jonathan. It breaks my heart to see Miss Reid like that.
I am powerless to help her. She thinks I'm a ghost too. Whatever I say, she just sees me as another dead relative.
But you are still alive, Mr. Jonathan. That's the difference. And I am sure Miss Reid will realize it soon.
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his family as long as I lived.
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir. So my task is not over.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
You really think I don't take enough care of my mother, Avery?
Yes, I do, Mr. Jonathan.
You clearly have something more to say. Speak your mind, Avery.
I know you work hard to help the sick, but what will you do once the epidemic is over?
I really don't know. I have always enjoyed seeing new horizons. Once the epidemic is over, it would be nice to leave London for a while.
I understand, Mr. Jonathan, but you have to realize that your mother needs you. Your next departure could break her heart.
Goodbye, Avery. Please watch over my mother until I return.
Of course, Mr. Jonathan, but please return as soon as possible.
I remember Sunday walks in the park. Hello again, Mother.
Jonathan, back already. Good, good. I was just about to go outside to find you. You shouldn't stay away for so long.
Tell me, Mother, how are you? All alone in this big house with only Avery to take care of you.
I'm sad most of the time. Sad that you have left me here alone. Sad that you don't tell me when you come or go.
I'm so sorry, Mother. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I was coming home. I was home. London, the Thames, and then it happened.
What happened, Johnny?
I was attacked, Mother. And I've not been the same since.
The important thing is that you finally returned home. I was worried, you know. You were the last member of the family of whom I had no news. Even Mary comes more often than you.
You think Avery is right? Do you think I should take better care of you?
I don't blame you, but you abandoned me, son. A mother should not survive her children. It's unbearable to know you're not here anymore.
I know I have failed you since I returned. I even watched you bury Mary from a distance. From now on, I will protect you. You have my word.
You don't have to apologize to me, Johnny. Do you think I did not notice how much you have changed?
Have I changed that much, Mother? Am I still your son?
You are still, and you'll always be. Despite your pale skin, your bloody eyes, and that echoing sadness in your voice.
Do you really see Mary and Father? Do you also see me as one of the dead?
Yes. For many years, it was just a game. Since your father left us without a word, I took to the habit of speaking to him.
Yes, I remember. I sometimes spied on you and listened to you talking with Father in the garden. It made me so angry then. But it was just a game, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But since then, my poor dead Mary visited me in my room. She led me to her grave, and there you were. I now know the dead can haunt us.
I'm so sorry. You did not deserve to endure this. Mary should never have done this to you.
That's true, my son. But you know what the worst part is? I liked it when Mary spoke in my head. Now she is silent, and it makes me so sad.
Should I leave you alone? Just ask, and I swear you'll never hear from me again.
Oh, no, Johnny. You're always welcome in this house. And one day, when I finally die, we'll all be together again, just as Mary promised us.
Father seems to have left me some documents. Some sort of treasure hunt game. Do you know anything about them?
No, Johnny. But your father always loved to write these little games for you when you were a boy. Don't you remember?
I remember now. He used to post me these riddles, as though they were sent by a mysterious games master. I'd spend weeks trying to decipher them.
Your father was always so proud each time you found the answer. He was not just the serious doer banker everybody thought he was.
I was proud too. How could I forget that?
The important thing is that you remember it now. I'll tell your father the next time I see him. He'll be so happy.
Could Father have conceived some sort of final game for me before he left?
I really can't say, Johnny. Perhaps you should talk with Avery about that. He was your father's confidant, more than I.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, son.
Yes, Mr. Jonathan?
I found an old letter written by my father and addressed to me. Do you know anything about it, Avery?
Your father wanted me to give you this letter for your 35th birthday, but you left for the war, and the letter remained in his office until tonight.
I realize now you knew my father better than I did. Do you know why he left, Avery? Did he ever speak to you about his departure?
No, sir. Mr. Reid was not exactly forthcoming. Perhaps this letter will give you the information you require.
Goodbye, Avery. Please watch over my mother until I return.
Of course, Mr. Jonathan. But please return as soon as possible.
the Ascalon Club. The heart of British vampire society. Not quite as subtle as I expected.
Women's right to vote is only the first step. Women of all countries unite!
No civilians allowed, sir. Bloody monster!
I had almost forgotten I applied for a position at Pembroke. It was so long ago.
is despicable. It's locked.
Give me your blood! Your blood is now...
Louise's father was determined to find and save her. It's locked, all right.
Disgusting asshole! Vampires will never be your wife! Let me go, you bastard!
This is my territory!
How long are you gonna keep me locked in here? Disgusting asshole! Vampire will never
Don't you
be
know
your
better?
wife! How long are you gonna keep me locked in here? Let me go, you bastard!
Miss Teasdale, are you all right?
How do you know my name? Who are you?
My name is Dr. Reid. I managed to track you down thanks to your father.
So my father really was looking after me. This man, this vampire told me my father was dead. Is it true?
I'm afraid so, miss. I'm so sorry for your loss. But you are free to go, as your abductor is no more.
I suppose my jailer also killed my father, didn't he?
Thankfully, he did not search your father's corpse, where I found his notes describing where he might find you. You should read them.
I must find my father's body. He deserves a proper burial.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale, and be careful. Until we meet again.
Jonathan Reid. At last we meet. The cards warned me you would visit tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir. Do I know you?
Of course you do. Our mutual friend, Dr. Swansea, can't speak highly enough of you. My name is Usher. Usher Talltree.
You are the leader of the Brotherhood, are you not?
Primate of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, to be precise. I'm really glad we met tonight. I love it when the cards tell me a truth.
The cards told you to expect me.
Yes, they tell me everything. They told me that you struggle hard not to take too many lives.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood?
I really don't know. I don't often go outside. And when I do, it's usually to quite distant destinations.
So you see nothing in the stars for me? You're a poor fortune teller, then?
Oh, I can tell you many things, but they will only concern you, not the city. For example, I know that you offered your sister the final rest she asked for.
Do the cards speak of my Mary?
No. It's the burning aura of guilt that precedes you everywhere you go.
Read my fortune, then.
You have been chosen, Jonathan. I see on you the mark of a strong being, so powerful it needn't even reveal its strength.
Tell me about yourself. What do you do here, besides turning cards in the middle of the night?
I'm for most a charlatan. For a few, I'm a vampire. And for you, I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole.
Some believe you to be a vampire. Who?
The guard of Priwen, who else? For a time, they sent spies to observe my activities, and they even broke into my home to gather proof.
Did they steal anything from you?
A personal notebook they quickly took to their headquarters. All they had to do is to look at me. I'm aging. What better and definite proof that I'm not an immortal?
Do you want your notebook back?
If you ever find it, I'd be glad to have it back, of course. I do ask one thing, though. Do not read it, Jonathan. Some secrets are not meant to be revealed, even to immortals.
For how long have you been a primate?
It was 15 years last year.
What do you make of Dr. Swansea?
Edgar is a brilliant and dedicated man. A man of his time, sometimes a little muddled, but always looking for new paths and new concepts.
Can you read the cards for me?
Are you sure you want to know what they will reveal?
Yes, I am.
It will cost you 150 shillings.
Here is the money.
The Sorceress. A heart-shaped trap built to entangle a loved one. Mirrors on every wall to see her own reflection constantly.
May I ask you about the Brotherhood?
Of course. But I must warn you that there are some subjects we consider taboo, in spite of our fondness and acceptance of your kind.
I know there is no love lost between the Guard of Priwen and the Brotherhood. What caused this rift?
It was 1801. The Brotherhood was stronger then, a strength that made them hungry for ever greater power. An argument divided them, and the wound never healed.
What was the nature of the disagreement?
The problem was that both sides considered themselves the legitimate heirs of the original Brotherhood. We divide up the books, the relics, not always fairly or with consideration.
Who founded the Brotherhood?
That's precisely the kind of question I cannot answer. It is delicate, and may reveal some of our secret traditions.
So you're not just a club of academics and scholars.
Once upon a time, very long ago, the Brotherhood did more than simply study the vampires. They took actions to eliminate the more ferocious and corrupted.
How do you measure the amount of blood on my hands?
I told you. The cards always tell the truth. Well, most of the time.
Is it possible to tell me my future?
A vampire's fate is much more delicate to read, Doctor. but I can try.
All right. Let me hear it.
The walls of your prison have already been raised, Jonathan. But you will freely accept to be locked inside, full of hope for a better day.
I would rather not know. How did you learn about Mary? And spare me the hocus-pocus parlor tricks. The truth, now!
Swansea told me. Don't look at me like that. His task is to observe and gather information about vampires. He had to tell me about Mary.
Mary did not deserve her fate. She had already suffered enough during her life. And yet the pain and the suffering went on after her death.
Suffering is part of the immortal condition. Some prefer to lose their minds rather than face the simple truth. Pain will never stop.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. A red ribbon in the dark, the whispers of the sun. So many signs to interpret.
Good evening, sir. May I ask you what you're doing here at this late hour?
I'm conducting an investigation about the epidemic in this part of town.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are and why all the questions?
I'm Detective Inspector Charles Albright from Scotland Yard. And I don't find your answers convincing. What is a Pembroke doctor doing in the West End at this time of night?
I'm here on my own, sir. I have no official appointment other than my desire to save lives.
Then we have the same objective, sir. The difference is, to catch my suspects, I use a magnifying glass and handcuffs instead of a microscope.
What can you tell me about this district?
I'm the one asking questions, especially when there's a killer on the loose.
What killer?
I'm not going to discuss that with the civilians, sir.
Haven't I told you about the investigation I'm conducting? Perhaps I could help you.
All right, without giving you too much information, I'll tell you this. I'm convinced there is a homicidal maniac on the loose, using the epidemic to disguise his kills.
And what about the epidemic?
We both know the situation is critical, don't we, Doctor? Colleagues of mine die almost every day.
What are you really doing here?
I told you. I'm a detective inspector from Scotland Yard, investigating suspicious cases in the area.
Do you work alone?
Yes, the situation is difficult for the police. Many of us are sick, and since the summer strike, most men apply a work to rule on their patrols.
What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians?
I know, it's a shame, but we just don't have enough men to cover the entire city.
Why are you investigating at night?
Criminals rarely act in daylight, you know. But since you are also a night worker, have you noticed anything strange which requires police attention?
Does the name Fergal ring a bell? Fergal Bansher.
Of course it does. Fergal Bansher, the Butcher of Galway. Hung in Dublin in 1857 for murdering more than 20 men with his bare hands. Why are you so interested in dead criminals, sir?
Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for.
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal, sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
What are you investigating, exactly?
I currently have a few missing persons cases. Mr. Tadao Kimura and Miss Louise Teasdale. I'm afraid they may have been abducted by my mysterious maniac.
Tell me about Louise Teasdale.
She's a waitress. Her father reported her missing. We don't have enough men to search for her, sadly.
Do you have any idea where she could be?
No. But I feel she's been abducted. She went to a pub a few nights ago and vanished. I thought about the sewers, but I'm not equipped for such an investigation.
Tell me about Mr. Kimura.
Mr. Kimura is a businessman who has been missing for a few days. He didn't go home, didn't go to work, didn't go back to his family.
Where was he last seen?
Mr. Kimura was last seen at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. I followed a possible lead in the West End, but I found nothing.
Goodbye, Detective Inspector Albright.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan Reid. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reid. Do you remember me?
Dr. Reid? Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Why are you awake at night, Carol?
I am helping my mother in her shop. It's not easy, but I'm a grown-up now.
Why is work not easy? Is something or someone bothering you?
Oh no, most people are gentle with me. But I'm so nervous sometimes. I pay no attention and hurt myself. Good thing my mum learned first aid.
I'm sure your mother is grateful for your help.
I do the best I can. But I'm so clumsy sometimes. I drop things. I injure myself. It's a good thing my mother has the patience of an angel.
What can you tell me of the people living nearby?
I don't speak to many people, except our customers. It's not easy to make friends. And with the epidemic, it's even more difficult.
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Some of our regular customers have left London. Some others only send their housemaids now. Everybody fears the contagion. I've even seen men with weapons.
Have you no friends at all?
No. Mr. Nithercote used to pass by and was always nice to me.
Does he not come by anymore?
No. Mum said he was weird. Always reciting poetry about a girl he'd met in Whitechapel. I wonder who this camellia may be.
Do you enjoy working with your mother?
Oh, yes, Doctor. My mother raised me alone after my father died. We've always lived together, and she has always watched over me.
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby then. My mother always told me how strong and good he was.
Do you ever think about getting married now you're a woman?
Oh no, Dr. Reid. Mum always says I'm still a child who has no idea how tough life can be. No husband would like a clumsy girl like me.
Is it true you often hurt yourself, Carol?
Yes, it's true. I try to behave, I really do. But one way or another, I always end up injured or wounded. I'm so stupid.
Why would you be stupid?
It's like I can't help getting under my mother's feet. That's how I end up being pushed, cut, or burned. You see, I'm a stupid girl, really.
When exactly do these accidents happen?
Ever since I was little. That's why I need to stay with Mum. I'm not capable of taking care of myself.
Goodbye, Carol.
Good morning.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. I am glad to...
Good evening, Miss Price. How are you tonight?
Dr. Reid, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
What can you tell me about yourself, Miss Price?
I'm still managing my shop. The only difference is, since the quarantine, we're open at night. You, on the contrary, seem to have changed a lot.
Tell me more about yourself. No new fiancé? I remember you were hoping to get remarried. I'm sure you must have a few suitors.
Who would marry an old bat like myself with a grown daughter and a little business? As you know, I only fancy handsome men like yourself.
Really? Have I changed that much? It must have been the war and the night shifts since my return.
Don't get me wrong, Dr. Reid, you're still handsome. Just maybe a little bit wiser, more serious. It suits you well.
Have you noticed anything in particular in this part of town recently?
Other than you coming back to cheer me up? Nothing at all, Dr. Reid.
Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you.
I'm taking care of my daughter as well as I can. It's not always easy, but she's the best gift life gave me.
But she'll probably leave you someday to live her own life. Will that be difficult for you?
Why would she leave? Children sometimes stay with their parents until the end, for they know no one else will love them as much.
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price? I remember you were often concerned about her health when she was younger.
Have you not seen Carol since you returned? She's almost a young woman now, but she'll always remain my sweet little baby.
So you're less afraid?
Some things never change. Carol is still too clumsy for her own good. Sometimes her innocence puts her in real danger.
Why would her innocence put her in danger?
She does not realize how cruel life can be. Maybe I was a bad mother to protect her too much. My poor dear Carol.
You have every reason to be cautious, Miss Price, especially in these difficult times.
Maybe you could talk with her, Dr. Reid. It would be nice to have a man here more often. We would both feel safer.
Tell me, Carolyn, do you often wound or hurt your daughter by mistake?
No. I always thought it was Carol's clumsiness that caused these incidents. Maybe it's a family trait, Doctor.
You really believe it's just bad luck and being clumsy, then?
Of course, Doctor. What else could it be? I have nothing to hide.
You are responsible for your daughter's many injuries and scars, Carolyn. You brutalize her, don't you?
How could I abuse my own flesh and blood? This is nonsense. It would be like hurting myself.
You really believe you've done nothing wrong, don't you? How long has this been going on for? I should have seen it when you were my patient.
See what? Child abuse? Are you mad, Dr. Reid? I dedicated my whole life to my precious Carol. She is a part of me.
Yes. Even her name is just a part of yours. This is a terrible tragedy. Something of an unknown disorder. My God. Abuse that comes from overwhelming love.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. How dare you say something like that? What kind of a monster do you think I am?
Speak to me, Carolyn. Why do you behave like this? How does it make you feel to hurt Carol before cajoling her?
I don't know. It makes me feel good to take care of my daughter. I need to feel useful. No one ever takes care of me. I need someone to take care of me.
Do you realize Carol is a person? Not a toy. Not a doll. The poor girl would put her hand in a flame to please you. You are both trapped in this toxic relationship.
Carol and I are perfectly happy. Leave us be. How stupid I was to believe you could be a suitable husband.
You're a threat to Carol, and no child should feel unsafe in the presence of their parents.
No, Dr. Reid. You are the threat. You are threatening to separate a mother from her only daughter, from the meaning of her life.
May I look at your...
It's always a pleasure to have you. Dr. Reid, I am glad.
Good evening, young lady.
My mother always prefers when people simply call me Carol.
You need to understand you are in danger, Carol. Your mother is responsible for all your injuries.
That's a lie. She has always taken good care of me. She only gets irritated when I get under her feet. It's my fault. My mum loves me so much.
Yes, Carol. Your mother believes she loves you as much as you're convinced she loves you. But you are both trapped in a toxic relationship that puts you in danger.
What are you saying? That she lied to me all these years? That she wants me to be miserable? My mother has dedicated her life to my safety.
Your mother is terribly sick, Carol. She suffers from one of the most sadistic attitudes I've ever encountered, and tortures you with a twisted sense of love.
No, my mum loves me and only wants the best for me. It's my fault if I can never do anything right. She deserved a better girl than me.
Dr. Reid, I am glad.
Goodbye, Carol.
I'm sorry, I can't help you, sir. Perhaps you should talk with someone else instead.
Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Jonathan Reid. Do you need my help?
Yes, please. Would you be kind enough to tell me what the time is?
That's all you need to know.
Well, is it not important to know? As important as where you are? Or who you are?
I suppose you're right. And who are you then, sir?
I am Agamemnon Baker. Like my brother, I think we need to leave this city immediately. And my brother and I rarely agree on anything.
May I ask what you're doing outside at this hour of night?
I don't know. You should ask my brother instead. It was his idea in the first place.
You must have your own ideas.
From what I have managed to understand, I guess we're supposed to wait here. Waiting for someone to come.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's the only place I've considered myself happy. Or at least that's what I believe. Unfortunately, it's time to leave.
Why is that?
Because I'm not feeling happy here anymore. Are you?
What kind of question is that? What am I supposed to answer, exactly?
The truth. And I believe you just did it, actually.
May I ask why you've not gone already, if you're so exasperated by this long wait?
I believe fear is holding us back. My brother would have said it's laziness, but it's just because he's prouder than I am.
What can you tell me about your brother?
He's older than me, I think. But the important thing is that I really hope I'll die before him. Grief would just kill me, you know?
Is that all?
Pericles is very attached to this city, and without my insistence, he would never leave this place. We don't often agree on anything, you see?
Who are you waiting for, exactly?
The more I think about it, the more I believe it's not exactly a person we are waiting for.
But what else could it be, then?
I don't know. A feeling? An event? An impulse? How can I tell? Something that would allow us to leave this trap.
I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about?
Have you ever felt like life trapped you in a role that does not fit you? That you're not in your place? That sort of trap.
Trap? And you think leaving London will free you?
At least it will give us the chance to be free. That's more than our present situation. Hope, Doctor. Hope is what truly drives mankind.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. Can I be of assistance?
Dr. Reid? Dr. Reid?
Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just... your name sounds familiar. And your face. Have we met before?
I think I would remember. So I suppose the answer is no.
That's odd. I'm certain I've already heard of you. My name is Pericles Baker. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm afraid not, sir. But it's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
The pleasure is mine, I guess. I only wish I could remember when it was that we met.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Baker. What are you doing out here in the middle of the night?
We are waiting. Waiting for someone.
And why are you waiting for this person?
Because we need to leave this city. As soon as possible.
Why do you want to leave the city?
I'm not really sure.
Can you tell me anything about this district?
As you like asking questions so much, would you allow me to ask you one first?
Please, be my guest.
Do you like this city?
I know we are not living in the most peaceful of times, but I have learned to appreciate London's complexity.
Yes, me too. This city tests us. It invites us to find ourselves, to discover our true nature scattered throughout its dark streets.
But what if we don't like what we find?
Do we ever know who we are? I wonder sometimes. Or maybe it is the journey to find out who we are that changes us.
And what do you do, sir? For a living, that is.
I stopped working when I decided to leave. When I realized what I wanted. Wanted something this city can't provide.
But what were you doing before you took this decision?
Does it really matter anymore? Considering the past seems so pointless to me. I have lived in this city all my life. And now I think it's over.
Tell me more about why you want to leave London, then.
I just don't belong here anymore. I had to convince my brother to leave London because I know we need to find another life out of the city.
Pericles, tell me why your brother disagrees with your presence here.
Agamemnon is naive sometimes. Although don't consider him a fool, sir. He is often more lucid than me.
At least you both have the same difficulty explaining what you're doing, and for what reason.
But is that not a common problem for all mortals?
What can you tell me about your brother?
If you are searching for a pleasant chat, you should speak with him instead of wasting your time with me. He has always been the more gentle of us.
That's it? That's all you can tell me about him?
For the time being, true kindness is the most valuable quality, my good sir.
Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name.
I really can't answer that question, since I don't know that person.
And why is that?
This person is mostly my brother's acquaintance. I don't even know his real name. Only that this man could help us leave this city once and for all.
But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway?
Well, I thought we should have left this cursed place already, but my brother convinced me to stay a while longer, and here we are.
Goodbye, Mr. Baker.
Hello again.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker.
The Spanish flu is not the only hidden killer around here.